Hello, dear channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and joining us here for the readings of Weaponized Love. Today we're going to cover Chapter 2. Early Manipulations is the title of the chapter. So please sit back somewhere comfortable, and I hope you enjoy and get value out of this narration. Isolation of target. In the initial love bomb stage 1 of the narcissist cycle, they will introduce you to their friends and family rather quickly for a number of reasons. One being so that their family can help love bomb you too, assisting and intensifying the narcissist's singular efforts. A more sinister reason for speed and intensity in particular is so that you will feel a natural gravitation to reciprocate and make the introductions to your own inner support circle with more haste than you normally might be inclined to. This precipitous action on the part of your narcissistic partner is manyfold. Indeed, if you were to inquire as to why the hurry from a narcissist, most would be unaware of the agenda or drivers behind their behaviour. The likely response would be, "I don't know what you're talking about, you're weird." Or, "Everybody does this, it's normal, you're just being paranoid." They do know, however, that their recce on you and closing in on your family and background makes them feel good, more in control. It better positions them to assess how best to insert themselves into gunner position and maneuver themselves behind your lines of defense for future battles. They seek information on who your supporters are within the family/friend circle and who your possible detractors may be, i.e., who could be turned or controlled easily against you when necessary. Who could be utilized as additional supply for the narcissist, and who could be used to acquire status, money, or indeed assist the narcissist in their control of you. These first steps in getting to know what's what with your support circle are very important going forwards in the narcissist game plan, and should not be underestimated in laying the groundwork for the inevitable strike against you. Once the narcissist has identified your hardcore supporters, your could-be-influenced supporters, and any possible grudge supporters, they will get to work in the background and doing what they always do, sowing the seeds of your future destruction and enabling themselves to harvest the greatest gain by association from these new supply sources. Let's look at this dynamic to better clarify what may have gone down in your own circumstance, and I will share a little of my own experience here, although this was one of my narcissist's least successful manipulations. Notwithstanding, it took its agendized toll nonetheless. Your hardcore family, friend supporters, the ones that always have your back, that love you unconditionally, the truthful, loving ones who have no problem giving their opinion if asked, but don't push their views down your throat, will be assessed for any chinks in their loyalty. Any past fallouts, any unresolved issues will literally be sniffed out by the narcissist. This sweeter than sweet phase by the narcissist in ingratiating themselves into your inner circle and seeking such due diligence so quickly, although usually very subtle, may also be picked up by your hardcore group as suspect behavior by the narcissist. The narcissistic haste and boundary smashing methods are at the very least a bit odd and may quietly send alarm bells ringing within your staunch supporters group. If the narcissist comes up against some very brick walls here, they will generally back off these particular individuals, as further interactions on their part with these loyal and true supporters of yours lead to negative connotations and a possible threatened exposure. Such connotations provide for them a feeling of powerlessness, lack of supply, and the possibility of revealing too much of themselves to people now perceived as the enemy. This group will be treated with an overtone of respectful distance, and no more work will be expended on impressing them. On the contrary, you will be told over time that your family don't really like me. These words will be trotted out usually after about the 6-month stage on aggregate. Firstly, with the intention to incentivize you to request this group treat your partner, the narcissist, better. Secondly, to encourage you to spend less time with your hardcore group, as it's upsetting to the narcissist. I mean, your family are obviously just jealous of your relationship, and the newfound happiness without them becomes the narcissist's new narrative. As more time passes, your true and best supporters here can see what they initially suspected would happen actually play out, and become increasingly worried and frustrated that you seem so hypnotized by this devil at work. They may attempt to warn you, feeding into the narcissist's "your family doesn't like me" claims. The longer this status quo exists, the truer the claim becomes as your hardcore group sees the narcissist's true intentions towards you unfold, and what they disliked initially and instinctively becomes real. The narcissist seeks successfully, quite often, to convince their victim that this group of your staunch supporters just dislike the narcissist for dislike's sake, and they're just jealous that you are happy now with the narcissist, and that they, your loved ones, don't have your best interests at heart. Of course, this is a 100 degrees twist of the truth. The exact opposite is the case. It is the narcissist who doesn't have your best interests at heart, and your family and friends dislike what the narcissist is attempting to do to you on so many covert levels. Remember, your group here loves you, and know that the change they see occurring within you and your behaviour are not you. Generally, at this point, a divide occurs as they seek to open your eyes gently, and sometimes not too gently, to what they see occurring that is blinding you into believing the narcissist adores you. This plays into the narcissist's former accusations about your core group of supporters, leaving the target wondering if perhaps the narcissist has a valid point. At this juncture, the best solution to the psychologically manipulated divide, as you then see it as two divergent sides, your hardcore group and the narcissist, is often for the target to choose a side. It is presented as an increased pressure, a choice you have to subconsciously make: your partner or your family. Loved up as you are, and feeling a deep attachment towards your new partner, and with all the future faking of the great life to come, maybe marriage, children, new property, new country, you believe you are choosing what is best for you in general, and hope your friends and family will come around as they see how happy this person truly makes you. A great lesson to be learned here indeed is to listen intently to the people in your life, albeit a handful, who truly do have your best interests at heart, and who can sense objectively and instinctively over time someone who does not. In my case, I was lucky enough to have some wise souls in my hardcore group who simply remained tight-lipped as they watched me become more a shell of myself under the narcissist's influence, but knew not to immediately intervene. They stayed in touch with me as closely as I would allow, careful not to offer opinions unless specifically asked, which I did at a later juncture when those doubts began to set in about the narcissist's behaviour. They were then able to provide a qualified opinion with examples and constructive advice that at that stage I was able and willing to hear. They were then able to provide a qualified opinion. Sorry, I've said that already. I did manage to alienate some others in my hardcore group with my bombastic attitude and insensitivity as I sailed on happily, oblivious to my impending downfall. I put this down to a combination of stressful highs and lows and the frenzied state I found myself in as the narcissist kept me busy and running on adrenaline while dealing with being managed by him. That is not to abdicate personal responsibility for any adverse or unpleasant actions I engaged in at the time. I was definitely not acting in my higher self and became intolerant of the needs of others as I pursued my drug addiction to the narcissist's validation and the promised great future. As we say in Ireland, win nim wick, or I was on the pig's back, a description for a very happy, albeit anxious state. Unbeknownst then that the pig and I were racing towards a murky ditch into which we would fall hook, line and sinker into a dark, deep quicksand, out of which we must find a miracle to save ourselves. Thankfully, that miracle was found, and similar information to that imparted here today crossed my path. Akin to a branch across the sinking sands to pull oneself out after the narcissist has tricked you to a place of moving earth, where to grasp a hold of the truth is literally life-saving. The second group in your inner circle, perhaps more involved in their own lives and interests and less attached to you, or even just a more naive cohort, will be more useful to your narcissistic partner. Some may disclose to the narcissist your jointly unresolved issues from years ago. For instance, petty family rivalries normally best left undisturbed, or just the exchange of innocent information about you, all a currency for the narcissist to use to better manipulate you now or in the future. Confidences provided by this group, who are taken in by the kind and loving facade or mask of the narcissist, will be utilized as ammunition against you in the devaluation stage of the narcissist cycle. Put-downs of you are fired at you in future discussions as you are belittled with phrases like, "everyone thinks you are," names are quoted and incidents related to back up the narcissist's attempted demolition of your self-identity and self-esteem. They all agree with me that you're crazy, unstable, selfish. You get the picture, dear reader, and on it goes. When all is said and done, this second group may come to you retrospectively and express their horror at being misquoted by the narcissist. They may later indeed reveal the narcissist's horrible manipulative distortion of a true factual historical occurrence taken totally out of context to become so distorted it bears no longer any resemblance to the truth. The third group of your inner circle were actually never your friends, and their loyalties will be, at least at the ending of the narcissistic relationship, revealed. These individuals were possibly narcissistic themselves and covertly envious of you. Although such revelations can surely be a painful discovery, the bonus for you is the revelation of people you do not need in your life going forward. There may well be a narcissist or two amongst them. They will play into the narcissist's agenda and unfortunately relish your downfall, assisting the narcissist by becoming willing flying monkeys. Their assigned roles may include passing on information to the narcissist throughout your relationship and afterwards during the smear campaign. They may well assist the narcissist in hoovering attempts to re-engage you back into the relationship during the mini discards. They may partake in compounding the narcissist's agenda by promoting self-doubt within you, suggesting you just need to work on yourself and the relationship, and many similar gaslighting suggestions. It can take time to uncover the deception amongst this group, and hopefully we are talking about a small number here, but the truth always eventually reveals itself, particularly when you are back to yourself post-narcissistic abuse and healing. The core values and direct results of isolating you from people who know you well are manifold. The narcissist's singular voice of validation, feedback to you as a person, becomes more concentrated, as it is no longer diluted by alternative, more measured and positive feedback. The narcissist's semi-influence on some of your inner circle can distort your self-identity. The results of this influence can lead you receiving some odd feedback from people you trust, as they in turn are being manipulated. For example, them being told you are not coping and need help, etc. Others in your community may be giving you odd looks or a wide berth, and your senses are picking up on a distorted and manufactured narcissist's reality. This new reality generally feeds into the narcissist's propaganda version that there is something wrong with you. All pretty heinous stuff, psychologically damaging and covertly destabilizing. An excellent example of such an isolation of the narcissist target or primary source of narcissistic supply, in my opinion, can be seen in Prince Harry's isolation from family and country, according to the news, which leads into another aspect of isolating the target by physically removing them from their support group, friends and family. This ploy is often used to escalate and expedite the isolation technique, making it that much more effective. The physical removal of the individual the narcissist is targeting in order to gain total control of removes at least 50% of the time, effort and work the narcissist has to expend to achieve their desired outcome. Note to self: narcissists will often suggest moving to a new location, country or continent in order to isolate the victim, and this action, when coupled with additional maneuvers, is definitely red flags territory. In my opinion, looking at the dynamic between Meghan Markle, narcissistic behaviours allegedly, and Prince Harry, it was necessary for her to bide her time in that situation. For many reasons, it was important to weigh up the right time and manufacture justifications to exit the royal family, where both Harry and the public could be counted on to support his removal. In some situations, it is trickier for a narcissist to immediately remove their victim physically from their home environment. In order to avoid alarm bells clanging, they have to chip away slowly to justify the massive upheaval in the victim's life. Relocating the target to a new country, state, or indeed continent, particularly to the particular narcissist's own home ground, shifts the power of familiarity and security right into the narcissist's lap. This unfamiliar territory is obviously a more difficult environment for the victim to navigate in fostering a feeling of security and confidence, as their world has just been turned upside down. The narcissist utilizes such a move to their own familiar home ground to attach the victim more closely to them. This isolating move can often leave the narcissist partner not knowing anyone initially in the new location other than the narcissist, who is their only initial point of reference. This move definitely fosters, at the very least, a sense of temporary dependency on the narcissist, again elevating the narcissist's control over their target. This physical move of you into the narcissist's camp translates into a period of intense attachment, during which your confidence and stability are adjusting to a new world. This is a time when the narcissist really concentrates on embedding their target into the state of narcdom and gets you accustomed and more comfortable with the narcissistic way of life, including customs and habits of the narcissist world. In the next section, we will look into the target's ego manipulation to clarify how this goes down. It's important to remember that all these multiple manipulations happen consecutively and overlap with one another to produce the overall hypnotic effect and the granting of your initiation to narcdom. This is one planet where you do not want to find yourself stranded, and hence the exact reason for this publication coming into existence. Hopefully, your ticket out of this dark jungle forever. And we will leave it there today, everyone. The next section in chapter 2 starts with ego manipulation. Take great care of yourselves until the next reading. We will see you shortly again.